Good morning. Thanks for listening in. Today we've got Erik Wahl with us. Erik is a world-renowned painter and speaker, working with Premiere for many years, and he has decided to join me today to chat a little bit about what he does. Thanks for joining us, Erik.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Where are we, Erik? I see the backdrop there.
We're inside my studio in sunny San Diego, California. So mid-January. Sorry to anyone who's not experiencing that nice weather. But this is actually my a backdrop. One of the walls within my studio. It's actually one of my prized possessions. I've got about 700 cans of vintage spray paint from around the world, dating back to some of the very first cans in the 30s and 40s, model spray paint can kits for trains, all the way up through some of the current high caliber, high viscosity spray paints. But this is kind of my baby. It might be the finest collection in the world. I don't know anyone else who collects spray paint, but this is kind of in my passion.
It sounds like a reality show waiting to happen.
We're waiting for the cameras to bust in the doors.
So, Erik, obviously you've spoken hundreds of times to groups around the world and consistently receive rave reviews, ranging from clients I see from FedEx to Disney to the National Parents Teachers Association. What is it about your message that connects with the audience, and such a diverse audience? What is it that you think that you say that is different, and what really connects with the client?
Well, it is almost as much of a show as it is a keynote speech. One of the very first things I do, and I'm always billed as a keynote speaker, so the audience is under the impression that they're going to be having a keynote, a general session, a plenary. And it typically falls on the opening or closing. But the very first thing that I do is I come out to triumphant music and create a portrait choreographed within the first 3 minutes. And what that does is two things. Number one, it does differentiate for sure. The audience was expecting either pie graphs from flip charts or a talking head talking about innovation, talking about the process of creativity or change. I'm actually showing it to them real time in a very emotional, dynamic, artistic way. So that's the very first thing I do is create that portrait in 3 minutes, create that painting. And then I use that as a catalyst to go on and talk about the creative process, to actually talk about differentiation, be it in business, banking, in the PTA, in education, healthcare. So the reason it resonates so broadly is because we're all wrestling with this. How do we do more with less? How do we differentiate from the competition? How do we adapt to change, whether it's regulations, whether it's the economy, whether it's increased competition? It's no longer a luxury to talk about innovation or creativity. It's almost a necessity to be able to compete, at a high level in business. So it's got a broad base, and the fact that it is different. It is meant intentionally to be entertaining and fast-paced, and really a multimedia keynote experience.
And when did you work out you could do this? Obviously, as quickly as you've painted, I've seen you. I mean, it's unbelievable. When did you start painting? When did that all start for you?
Well, actually, I didn't start painting until after I turned 30 years old. So
wow.
it was I was born and raised as a numbers guy, as a business guy, as a suit, and worked. Really, I enjoyed my time in the business world as an entrepreneur. What it did is, as far as for this keynote, is it taught me the language. It taught me how to interact, how to run a company, what marketing was, leadership was, service, sales, management. So I learned a lot of the vernacular. I experienced a lot of the challenges. But in the artistic world, that's when through a lot of personal and professional challenges a little over 10 years ago, I used that as my cathartic release. Kind of my way to rebuild and to go back was exploring with paint, and that just exploded for me, where a lot of my paintings became really well known very early on, early into an artistic career for that matter, and then launched out into the speaking career, because I had these artistic ideas, and I went and hung out in artist community. But one of the things about artists, and they frustrated me almost as much as the business community did, because they had these incredible ideas, all this creativity, all this innovation, but no practical application, no way to turn those ideas into actionable substance, into results. And so that's where I saw this kind of bridge. the vision and creativity as an artist, and the practicality and the return on investment of an entrepreneur, and kind of put those two together. That's where this presentation was born from, and it's been really an exciting ride bridging those gaps.
Yeah, and with the keynotes, when you have an audience, what do you hope that they walk away with? Is there a couple of key points that you kind of drill home? I mean, I know creativity, in my opinion, isn't really an option anymore. If you want to compete in the marketplace, you have to be creative, and whichever way that looks. But what is your takeaway when, you know, the art of the vision is your signature keynote that everyone knows about? What do you want people to walk away with? Well,
the takeaway, and I really don't even use the word creativity in my presentations, particularly for the higher level executive corporations, because that's a soft, ethereal word. What they're going to walk away with is the psychology of performance. You know, I'm going to talk a little bit about what did the breakthrough thinkers of the past do, the Picassos and Michelangelos and Mozarts, to create extraordinary works of art that no one had ever seen before, and how do the great entrepreneurs of today, the Pierre Omidyar, the Jeff Bezos, the Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, how did they tap into those same kinds of creative thinking and vision and innovation to create breakthrough and game-changing business opportunities? So I will leave the audience with, number one, the psychology of performance, how to tap into the innovative part of our mind to be able to, and that would be secondly, to differentiate from the competition, create unique customer experiences, but then third, just that ability to be able to adapt, to break outside of the old school landscapes and paradigms and the way business has been done, and be able to create their new proactive landscape as opposed to being reactive to things like regulatory changes or slumping economy or housing or workforce. So it's really how to be proactive, how to drive forward, and the psychology, the mental makeup on how to do that. Interesting.
And I guess, you know, obviously a big part of your presentation is the painting. What do you do with the painting at the end of it? I heard a rumor that they've been selling for quite high numbers, and obviously the money goes towards charity in a lot of cases. Tell me a little bit more how that works.
Sure, that's been probably one of the most exciting things for me in this career. Is fortunately I'm able to knock out the rent with the speaking that I do. So we made a choice. I made a choice very early on to stop and to not sell any of my artwork. So I don't sell any of my artwork in galleries, online, anywhere. So what we've been able to do then is we let go of that, as we have decommoditized my art, as it's taken on a life of its own. And the only way that, what I do is I give them away as a thank you at the programs that I do. So I'll do a couple of paintings where it's performed in front of a large audience. And then historically what clients have done is they've taken those, and because there's a message behind these paintings, there is emotion behind these paintings, is they are able to auction them off for what's come to be almost embarrassingly high amounts of money. But it's great because it's good money going towards great causes. I always let the client decide what cause they'd like to have that go towards. But then it's in their hands to creatively do with as they like. And some clients, they do. I will gift them back to a VIP or to a sponsor who's kind of underwritten the event as a thank you in hopes of getting them to support the future keynotes. But another valuable one is the auctions, and we've gotten some great return and great feedback on the auctions that we've done.
Yeah, it's unreal. Well, you'll notice in the back corner there is a blank piece of wall. So maybe, if you've got any extra paintings, you can send it to Nashville.
Just throw one over there to fit right in that corner. What is that, about 32 by 48?
Yeah, we'll work something out.
Sounds good.
Eric, most of the people watching this video are meeting planners. They're either by career choice or they were sitting in the wrong room when the CEO told them to plan their next meeting. You have the really unique perspective of watching events from the outside, really looking in. Do you have any tips for new meeting planners? What makes a great event, or maybe what not to do would probably be a better question. Any tips from your hundreds of events that you've spoken at?
Sure. Well, the first thing, and this is kind of the buzzword of the meeting industry, but value-added content. How do they keep membership high? How do they keep people wanting to come to the meetings? And there's so much information available at our fingertips. We can Google it. We can read it in newsletters. We can blog about it. But what is the value-added content that takes place at a meeting that they cannot get anywhere else? And really, the main and primary thing is the networking. How do they interact and connect and collaborate with the members? Because that is the one house that they do it under. And what are the venues and scopes by which they're able to create that? So, and meeting planners certainly know that. How do they continue doing that? And that's where I would see the opportunity. And my tip would be to differentiate. It is amazing to me how homogenous meetings are across the board, be it healthcare, education, financials, IT, how the format is virtually the same. And that would be where I would venture out and mix things up if I were a meeting planner. I'd start by bringing in a graffiti artist to come and open up the meeting on a dynamic high note.
I know one.
Just to kick things off on a different route. No, but and then I would create different formats, different things that they hadn't seen before, that all of a sudden the members start talking about. That they, tweet one of their, teammates back home, or one of their colleagues, or someone who maybe didn't show up this year because it wasn't in the budget, to say, you've got to see next year because here's what we did. What are those things that are so value added that they would talk about, that they're unique, and they don't even have to be the expensive ones. Have President George Bush come. Certainly that is one. There's a big price tag on that. But what are the ones that are unique, that just haven't been done before, that create buzz, that create momentum, that create almost a viralness in themselves, to get their members to be their best and most affordable source of marketing going forward?
Yeah, that's perfect. Well, I know whenever I pitch you, Erik, I always get a great response. You're a true pro. You've been doing it a long time. You spend a lot of time customizing. You're an artist, and you're a fantastic presenter. So I really appreciate your time here today. I'll let you get back to the surf or whatever you guys do in there in sunny California, graffitiing or something. But I really appreciate it, and thanks again.
Hey, my pleasure, Michael. Thanks. Have a great day, guys.
All right.
Bye.